Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And I had a couple subscribers say, hey Jason, are you aware that Luimarco made a three-part series this week about why he no longer supports the bodybuilding community, bodybuilding culture, competitive bodybuilding, any of that? What do you think about it? So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skill up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. All right, first of all, people love it when I imitate other people, so let's see if we can pull off a Luimarco imitation that basically sums up his stance on a lot of this. All right, let's go. All these fake Natties have shrunken testes on a daily basis. Baby, please. There you go, there's my Luimarco imitation. Some people may or may not be aware, Luimarco and I actually have a bit of a long history. We have always talked behind the scenes all the way back when I had the Ice Cream Fitness channel, before this channel was even created. So I've kind of known Louis a long time, and that may come as a surprise to a lot of you because we obviously are going to have philosophical differences, political differences, ideological, spiritual differences, and that's true, we do. But the difference is there's no hatred between Louis and I. He's always been respectful to me, I've always been respectful to him, and there's never been any beef as a result of that. And again, that might be surprising to a lot of you guys out there, but that's true. I haven't talked to him probably really in the last year though, so it's been a while, but we used to talk off and on about a lot of these topics. And yeah, I know he's always had real concerns about the health issues associated with bodybuilding. And it's interesting that he's really coming out saying that he opposes the whole bodybuilding lifestyle, the business, all of that at this point, because the reality is, what have I been saying all these years? That bodybuilding is a death cult. It's a death cult. And he really focused upon just the lifestyle because he's been to so many expos over the years and been around so many bodybuilders and even fitness YouTubers. And what he's always surprised at is how literally unhealthy their lifestyles are. We know that with pro bodybuilding levels, people don't think of these other guys. They only think of these pros. And he talked about that a lot, of these pro bodybuilders dropping dead, enormous health problems, all these other things. But it's not just them. There's fitness YouTubers. It's fitness YouTubers and Instagram people and everyone else, all these people in the fitness community. He kind of says, what's this? This isn't fitness. You're sticking yourself with a needle every day, not prescribed by a doctor. It's probably not fitness. This is not fitness. And he talked a lot about the problem with the needle addiction that comes with the bodybuilding world of once, and he's had other guys tell him this, that once you start injecting one thing every day, it's not a big jump to other things. And you see that in bodybuilding circles. You see rampant recreational drug abuse in bodybuilding circles, and he kind of asks the same thing I always say, is this fitness? How is this fitness? How is this fitness? And the absolute obsession that the people have with their body, to the point to where they get so involved in the bodybuilding and then it's going to be hard for them to do other jobs, other careers, anything else, because their whole life revolves around the obsession. The obsession. And again, it's not just pro bodybuilders. It's a lot of these internet figures now. But yeah, they do party and they are unhealthy. And as like he pointed out, what's all this talk of the guys who are taking 20 supplements? How is that even healthy? You get to a point to where you need to take 20 different supplements. That's not healthy. You start looking at that and it's a whole con running around it. The whole industry is based on taking guys and putting them on gear, or maybe a handful of guys who are really genetically gifted, who train hard, and then using them to sell all these supplements. And it's like he pointed out, the number of supplements that actually work, you can count on one hand. And none of them are expensive. The ones that actually work are dirt cheap. And I know he kind of talked about protein, but that really is just food. Protein powder is just food. That's all it is. It's not necessary, and it's not any better than eating normal food. Meaning there's literally no benefits you're going to get from taking a protein supplement versus getting protein from your whole foods, right? All it is help people hit a certain number. And whether you need that or not personally is going to be questionable. There's a lot of variables there. A lot of variables involved. But and everything else that does work or seem to work is dirt cheap. None of it's expensive. In other words, if you're paying $30 a month for a supplement, it's not on the list of the stuff that actually works. Or it's really a drug. And we go back to the whole problem with the rampant drug abuse. But all these guys, they take all these supplements and then they pimp it, promote it, and as if it actually works, and it's being used to con people. This whole industry is built upon selling a fake image, and he admits that. He knows that it is about drugs and then claiming it's supplements. And even with all the fake natties, and the YouTube is rampant with it. Instagram is rampant with the people who claim they're natty. They go on a bit of gear and then they start selling useless supplements or their training protocols as if there's something magical or new or special that has been invented that we haven't known about for a decade or longer, if not dramatically longer. They don't have any new secrets. They don't have new secrets for you guys. And then you see the whole problem with the G for P and the other things that goes with the lifestyle. Because these people get addicted to this lifestyle, it becomes expensive and they end up going to the G for P. And that is an enormous, enormous situation in the bodybuilding world. And in the so-called fitness world. And I mean, we get to a point where you got to go injecting yourself every day, needing 10 or 15, 20 different supplements that you have to take, selling your body, which again has its own set of health risks associated with it. That's not fitness. How did we go from the thing of calling this fitness? It's not fitness. And you know what? There are problems in the natural bodybuilding world. Even for the guys who are legitimately natty, there have been documented cases of natural bodybuilders having to go on TRT. Now, I'm on TRT myself. Mine's more complicated than a lot of you guys would think. It's not purely due to previous anabolic use. That is probably a factor, but I have another medical issue related to it. So it's not necessarily something I had full control over with my own lifestyle. Although was my lifestyle probably a factor? Yeah, it probably was. But I also have another secondary medical condition that elevates cortisol. It messes with my other hormones. And so for me, it's just a big old mess. So yeah, I'm on TRT also. So I'm not standing here saying that, everyone who's on TRT has always done something terrible to cause it, although our lifestyles contribute. But that's another point we come down to, that dieting down, that pushing that whole ultra ripped look that you see the standards set in natural bodybuilding. That's not fitness or healthy either. A lot of people will say, like, well, Jason, we think you're fat, you're carrying too much body fat. Yeah, but are you really going to go look at someone who's walking around 7% body fat? Do you really think that isn't also excessive and health damaging? And I'm not saying my body fat is perfect. I could stand to drop a few pounds of body fat. As far as ideal health, yeah, absolutely. But I admit that. The problem we have is that you got this whole community will not admit that ultra lean body fat for all but a handful of people genetically is unhealthy. It hurts you. It damages your organs. It crashes your testosterone levels. And if you do it too often or diet too hard, sometimes guys have to go on TRT as a result of that. So again, where's the fitness? And they talk about the masculinity aspect of it. Well, starving yourself down so lean that your body stops producing testosterone, I'm not sure if that's particularly manly either. I mean, if we're going to be frank about it, we're going to talk about alpha male behavior or whatever people want to talk about, obsessing with your aesthetics to the point to where you diet down so low that your body stops being able to produce testosterone. Well, if you were behaving like an alpha male before that, you're not going to be now. Yet that's promoted as health also. And that's just kind of a side caveat. But it kind of goes with the whole idea of this whole lifestyle is unhealthy. It's not fitness. Yet it tags that word fitness on it. But it's not. Not when you factor in the obsession. The obsession that leads to everything from eating disorders to body image disorders, right? These mentally unhealthy things then lead to physical activities that are unhealthy, excessive dieting. Do we get into the drug abuse? And then we get into the fact that the drug abuse tends to lead to further recreational drug abuse, which Jerry Ward and other people talked about in detail. He's admitted how he got sucked into all of that in the bodybuilding world and all the narcotic injections and everything else. And yeah, I've known plenty of bodybuilders, and I've known a fair number of competitive bodybuilders, and I would say out of the ones I've known over the years, at least 50% of them abused recreational drugs too. Whether it was coke or other things, it goes hand in hand with it. And I'm not saying powerlifting and strength sports don't have their share of problems. They do too, but that's kind of a separate topic. That is a separate topic. And one worthy of addressing, but it's at least possible to compete drug-free without getting hurt or harming your health in powerlifting. It can be done. It can't be done in bodybuilding because the dieting aspect alone harms your health in the long term. The level of leanness that they expect is no longer fitness, but it's been spun that way. And I'm kind of glad that you've got Louis talking about that, and talking about the obsession with all of it to the point of all the site enhancement, the destruction of people's health, the use of diuretics for a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot that ends up destroying people's kidneys, ends up causing damage, killing. We've got a number of bodybuilders die from that. There have been bodybuilders who, through potassium-sparing diuretics, it could be excessively used for photo shoots. It could be excessively used even for your Instagram photos, right? Causes damage to the body, causes damage to the organs, can damage your kidneys. It's this obsession and blatant disregard for health that tends to go with this entire community. It's a problem, and it is an unhealthy lifestyle being masqueraded as fitness, being masqueraded as health, when oftentimes it's anything but. Many of these guys who are obsessed with this aesthetics look, or being the mass monsters, or any of these other directions it goes, they're not healthy. They're not any more healthy than the person who eats McDonald's and smokes cigarettes, right? Yet they masquerade as being fit and healthy, and it's often not the case. And again, it's just kind of nice to see someone like Louis, a bigger name, one of the longest term fitness YouTubers in the game. And like I said, this isn't an endorsement of everything Louis says. I disagree with Louis on a lot of stuff. I do. But I think on this one, this series, I think he hit the nail right on the head. It's true. I kind of agree with what he's saying. That there's an enormous amount of truth here. I think it's spot on. And I think it's a valid criticism. And I think it's him being brutally honest. It's just Louis calling it like he sees it after a decade or more of observing all of this and just seeing it and being around this, all of it, of what he's observed. Just the sheer unhealthiness of it. It kind of matches what I've been saying for years, that bodybuilding isn't fitness. Bodybuilding is literally a death cult. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.